Hey, how's it going? I know. Crazy hectic, right? Well, sit back and relax and welcome to the Mom and Pop Spot. Help me welcome my dad and the host of the show, St. Patrick.
Welcome, beautiful parents, to episode number 13 of the Mom and Pop Spot podcast. Put those babies in the bassinet. Tell them teens to give you a minute and that baby daddy to grab you a coffee and come sit with you while you learn about this crazy thing called parenting. Today's guests are both born in October, both 80s babies, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And have a love and dedication for these children. And they both love Dallas Cowboys. They might say no, but it's a lie.
Oh, I didn't sign up for that.
Yes. And these two have judicious and charismatic personalities. Please show love to Drea and Shantrea to the show.
Hi.
There we go. I couldn't find it for a minute. How are you both doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys ready for an exciting show?
Yes.
Cool.
Born ready.
All right. So the first thing that I always have my guests do is you guys are actually going to have to sing. I'm just kidding. You guys aren't going to do that.
Oh, darn. So disappointed.
How are you guys on a scale 1 to 10, mentally and physically, emotionally?
Go ahead, take that.
All right. So mentally, I am at maybe right now in my life about a 7.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why a 7?
Just a little bunch of hiccups in the way.
Okay.
Currently. But like I believe in God,
Yeah.
and He's pushing me to number 10.
Nice.
Mhm.
7's not bad. It's always good to kind of have your strides or whatever, because that's the motivation that we need in life, I feel. So that's good. That's good. What about you?
I would say I'm what I like to call thriving.
Yeah.
I'm thriving at about a 6, 7.
Okay.
Everything's not perfect all the time.
Yeah.
You have to make time for life's obstacles and what kind of comes your way. So I would say steady thriving, which is partially thriving, but mostly surviving.
Nice. I like that. I'm gonna have to use that I'm gonna have to add it into my vocabulary.
Sounds good.
You
Yes.
can.
So according to the BBC, they say you really don't forget the pain of childbirth. Do you kind of remember your childbirth?
Yes.
You do?
Uh-huh.
I think
Yeah.
60% actually do remember it.
Mhm.
The other 40 is just what they told themselves, like, oh, like it was painful.
Yeah.
What part do you remember about that pain?
Oh goodness.
Like just trying to get them here.
Yeah.
That's the painful part because
Okay.
you go through a lot of pressure and a lot of pain, and no one fully understands but another woman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I believe like the husband's there, the spouse or
Right.
your mate is there with you, but it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
So I would say just bringing them on earth,
Yeah.
bringing them here, pushing them through.
Nice.
I don't know. I feel like my experience might be a little bit different only because I was in a different place when I was having children and I didn't really
Like in a different state or?
No, like here, like mentally, I was having kids back, I had my first in 97
Yeah.
and I was only 13.
Uh-huh.
So I
Oh,
didn't
wow.
have a spouse.
Yeah.
I didn't have dad. I kind of went through that on my own. Hid my pregnancy for almost 8 months.
Wow.
And so when I think back to my first pregnancy, I think what was the hardest part about it, it was just being in 8th grade and trying to survive and
Yeah.
living with a single parent and just trying to, get through those intricacies of the situation that I was in at the time. I think, and with my first, I almost died having him. So it's a
Yeah.
lot different than probably with your experience,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not having that support too. Those are
Yeah.
things that stick out to me. But it's,
Wow.
given the circumstance.
So what would you say for young pregnancies? What advice would you offer?
Ooh, well, I definitely feel very connected to younger parents who are having children. It is a reality that we face every day
Yes.
is teen pregnancy. So I have a very huge place in my heart for teen moms, for teen dads. And the advice that I would always give anyone is simply that you can't be defined by the decisions that you make because
Right.
you're still a child and you're still growing as well. Rather, you have to take every opportunity as it comes your way and choose to make a life that can sustain you and your family. You can choose to fall victim to the stereotypes. You can choose to fall victim and have a life that's not conducive to raising a family, or you can choose to strive and push forward and work through those obstacles that are going to come your way, and
Yeah.
you can come out successful out of that. So
Yeah, I agree. And then to add to your point, so when my wife got pregnant and stuff like that, I wanted to kind of like show like empathy and to try to figure out, not figure out, but like try to connect with her being pregnant. I did a labor pain simulator.
I saw that on
Yes,
Facebook.
yes,
I think
I
you
did.
posted.
yeah, I
Yes,
posted
I
it.
saw
Yeah,
that.
yeah, because I was just
Yeah.
like, and then I to even kind of push the envelope a little bit too, is I actually had a water backpack that I wore for 30 days, slept with it, I think everything but shower with it, which I know it's kind of cheating in a sense, but I even drove with it and everything else.
Yeah.
My back was like killing me. I'm like, and I only did it for 30 days. So what you guys go through time in and time out, my hats go off. Like it's a lot of respect.
And for you too, for you to even do that with your wife, to experience that with her,
Yeah, I
is
just wanted
very
to,
respectful of you as a man, as
yeah,
a husband.
I just wanted to be able to like, because of the fact that they go through so much, and it's
Yeah.
easy to say like, oh well, it's part of nature, it's part of this, part of that. It's like, let me step in your shoes for a
Yes.
minute, and let me shock the shit out of myself, and let me wear the backpack, and so I can kind of understand just a small glimpse of what you're going through.
It's small. It's on a smaller scale for sure, but I definitely want to give you props for
Mhm.
being willing to be vulnerable and put yourself in that position where you actually want to empathize with your wife to really understand what it is that we go through. They've done research that shows that contraction pain when you're in labor is the
Mm.
equivalent of like having a heart attack.
Yeah.
So, for you to put yourself out there is commendable, but you know, at the end of the day, it's a pain. It's a feeling that's very hard to describe carrying a child.
Yeah, I couldn't even. I was barely at, I think, like a level 6, and I think it went all the way up to 12. And that's not even a full contraction. I think
Yeah.
they said a full contraction was barely starting at a 6.
Mhm.
So, yeah, no thanks. I mean, if I had to do it again, for, experience or whatever, I'll do it, but it's not fun.
It's
Yeah,
it's
so
not on the top of your
it
list.
is not, but I will do it. I will do it in support. And how was all of your guys' pregnancies?
Well, I think for me, so I have 4 children.
Yeah.
Every pregnancy was different. I have 3 boys and 1 girl,
Uh-huh.
so those pregnancies were different as well.
Right.
But I will say that of the
He's good.
4
Yeah, he's good.
of the
Yeah.
4 pregnancies, my daughter was probably my last 2 were my most difficult. With my daughter, I experienced an issue where my epidural only, numbed half of my body, which was the
Right.
left half. So
Yeah.
as I'm giving birth, I can feel everything on the right side of my body.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a very traumatic experience that stands out for me.
Yeah.
And then with my youngest, who's 10 now, his is super his the traumatic thing that sticks out for me is that, 1, he was born with a heart murmur,
Uh-huh.
but also when he came out, he had the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck 3
Oh,
times.
man.
So it was very, very, like, couple of traumatic instances there. But, I mean, no pregnancy, no labor is without,
Yeah.
situations that arise that you can't account for.
Yeah.
So
Did you have any issues with your pregnancy?
With my pregnancy, I have 3 kids.
Uh-huh.
So, my first one, it was not so difficult.
Okay.
I bounced back pretty quick with him.
Yeah.
The last 2 were very difficult.
Yeah.
I was in labor with them maybe about 36 hours each because my blood
Wow.
pressure was just always high,
Yeah.
and then I, been rushed to the hospital and just bring them here. They had to do everything. I ended up getting a C-section with my son, my boy,
Yeah.
and then my daughter. It was natural.
Yeah.
So, it was just long. They were difficult. They were both difficult.
Mhm.
Wow. My wife, when the reason, because everybody's like, "Oh, you guys gonna have another one?" I'm like, "Nah, shops closed and stuff like that." But it was because the last one that we had, she had a lot of difficulty just getting the infusions and everything else. And I was like, "I'm not putting it through that." She's like, "Well, let's have another one." I'm like, "Nah, like I'm not doing
Yeah.
that to you because it's just like she really is the backbone of my family. So without her, I'm like,
Yeah.
these kids are gone. Like they're gonna
Yeah.
get they're gonna get a job. They're gonna have to like fend for themselves because I'm not doing it. Not that dramatic, but I mean, she really does an amazing job. So,
Yeah.
what do you wish you could have known or learned prior to having your babies?
Ooh, I think that's a little different for me. Just give my kids are all about 5 years apart, spaced
Yeah.
out, obviously, because I'm not going to have a bunch of kids in my teens.
Yeah.
But I think that when I take a step back now, where I'm at in my life, and I think back to when I was pregnant and my pregnancies, I wish I would have done some things different.
Yeah.
I don't regret my children, and I don't regret having, children in general. Like
Right.
it's what I felt that I was put on this earth to do.
Yeah.
But I will say that waiting until you're older, uh, having stability to provide for them, to where you're not making sacrifices based off of, okay, I need to sacrifice going to a Saturday morning game so that I can put in overtime so that I can make sure Christmas happens for them.
Right.
I definitely would have waited until I was in a more secure, financially secure state to have more children.
It's crazy because I feel like society now is having kids later on now.
Yes.
So you would say that would be a good thing.
Absolutely. I've noticed, and I've actually read studies that husbands and wives are now having children in their mid 40s, in their later 40s. We just seen in the news recently that Hillary Swank's 48 years old, and she's having her first child.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, because now we're in a place where it's okay for women to put their careers first and not have to feel like that there's a demand on them to get married young or to have children because that's what their husband wants. We live in a different society now where women have that autonomy to make those career decisions and put the career first before family. So you're starting to see now you have older parents, they're having their first kid when they're 40, 42, 44. You know what I mean? So I think it's great to see it. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. Is there anything that you guys regret or miss about being pregnant?
No.
No.
Yeah.
I was like, let me see what she's gonna say.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't really miss being pregnant.
No.
I
I mean,
chose not
because
to,
there are
though.
some that are just like, man, I love the
Yeah.
feeling.
It's the support you get from family and friends, but
Yeah.
I don't want to carry 7-pound baby everywhere I go,
Yeah.
Oh, good.
and then your whole human body changes for this person.
Yeah.
You don't even look the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were the weights of each of your guys' kids?
So my 17-year-old was 5 pounds. My 10-year-old, she was about 6 pounds, and then the baby was about 4 pounds.
Oh, okay. Oh wow, yeah, tiny babies.
Yeah, little babies.
They were preemie. Yeah, they were they were preemie. They were in the hospital for a couple of days too.
Yeah.
Maybe like a week or so.
Oh, okay.
My oldest is 25.
Yeah.
He was 8, 9. And then my second is 20, and he was 8, 11. My
Oh,
daughter is 16, and
Yeah.
she was Mia was 8, 6, and then my last, who's 10, he was 9, 7.
Oh wow.
So they just get progressively bigger.
Yeah.
And they all
Yeah.
have really big heads, and they
Yeah.
and unfortunately, I never had a C-section, so I will tell you with 100% certainty, and this is just my own personal opinion. You may have women out there that love being pregnant and love what it does to their bodies. I absolutely did not. I do not miss it. I do not miss the pain. I do not miss the trauma. I do not miss the breastfeeding. I do not miss anything.
Even the nights that there is another person in the house, there is your spouse in the house, but you are the main one.
Yeah.
The mother is the main one to
Yeah.
do majority of that work.
Yeah. I mean, I
up
agree.
in the middle of the night, changing diapers. I
Yeah.
don't miss none of that. I don't miss none of it.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Not
no,
at
I
all.
agree. My wife does a lot, and it's because of the fact that I'm having to go to work early in the morning. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I have a girlfriend. It's funny because she's right. Like, even though you have that support there,
Right.
a lot of times it is the mom that takes on that full responsibility. And I have a girlfriend who, when she was having her children, she was like, "Oh no," she goes, "even though I'm breastfeeding, he wakes up 3
Yeah.
o'clock. I don't care if he's sitting up in bed just holding my
funny.
hand. He's gonna
Yeah.
be there for support, because if I made this baby, he's gonna be helping too."
Yeah.
Like, imagine just this grown adult man just sitting there watching his child be breastfed, and he's there for support. Like, it worked for them. For me, I just kind of felt like throughout the children, I did all of it on my own.
So I have a question. Do you guys feel a certain type of way because there was like, I don't even know if it was a movement, but there was more people that were saying like women shouldn't be breastfeeding in public. What are your guys' views on those? On that?
Well,
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
so I think for me, we live we live in a time where women's bodies are over sexualized,
Right.
and breastfeeding has become over sexualized to the point where you have grown men who associate breast with sex.
Yeah.
And breasts were made to feed and nurture your children. So for me personally, it doesn't offend me to see a mom breastfeeding in public. If
Yeah.
your child needs to eat, that's what it's there for.
Right.
And it's always kind of rubbed me wrong when someone's like, cover up your baby, or you shouldn't be doing that in public. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if your husband is getting turned on by me feeding a child, then your husband's the one with the problem, or
Exactly.
you're the one with the problem. I will fight anyone who goes after a breastfeeding mom.
Right.
Yeah.
You will catch these hands.
It's
Yeah.
you're trying to feed the baby. It's like,
Yeah.
think about the baby. But I mean, unfortunately we live in a cold world. We live in an ugly world. So
We do.
I believe breastfeeding too, like in public, it don't bother me, never bothered me. I was like, oh, the baby's hungry,
Yeah.
time to eat, because everybody has to eat,
Yeah.
And I believe it has been sexualized in a way, and yeah, I just think it's been sexualized
Yeah.
breastfeeding.
I mean, we could go down a lot of roads with this, but you have kinks that are about, adult male breastfeeding or adult female
Yeah.
breastfeeding. And
There's
so
so many.
so because we have a culture like that, it kind of poisons what initially it was meant for. So for me, again, if someone's husband or if your wife or whoever is feeling some type of way about me feeding my child, then that says more about you than what I'm trying to do as a mother. So
And it's unfortunate because it seems like there's more I don't want to say scandal. I don't know the right word, where we frown upon the mother versus, the person that's looking of interest.
right.
And it's like, I think we need to change that a little bit. Let's
Yeah.
start protecting these mothers out here.
You have to remember the culture that we live in right
Yeah,
now.
I know.
And the state that we live in.
Yes.
And it has all these it will lead us down a political path. But ultimately, yes, we need to have more respect for the women that are risking their lives to bring humans into this world.
That's why and it's just my opinion. But I think that we need to have those conversations. Let's bring back sex ed.
Yeah.
Let's have some real conversations with these kids so that way they know,
We're setting our kids up for failure right now because
are,
the culture
100%.
that we live in, they rely on pornography to learn how to have sex. And then you have all these other issues that stem from that. You have boys thinking that you have sex the way it is in the movie. So you got little boys performing like, or grown men performing like jackrabbits, and then they're not even caring about their spouse or their spouse's needs. So, you know what I mean? We have to change the culture, and it starts with our kids. But public education is what it is.
Yeah. With that being said, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we will be back. I don't know, like a minute and a half, something like that.
Cool.
But we'll be right back.
Habari Entertainment Films present There's Only One Name for News with Damon and Aisha. Habari Live Podcast. Habari Entertainment, a race against time. On a quest for glory. Habari News Weekly, HabariEntertainment.com. Catch us for more. Visit us, HabariEntertainment.com.
And we're back. So we are discussing motherhood. We're actually learning a lot today.
Homie.
I know. But did self-guilt ever play a factor?
Did self-guilt?
Yes. I would believe yes. I'm so sorry I had cut you off there, but I just kind of felt like I should say something.
Say it. Yeah.
I have a 17-year-old son that, I didn't push off. We both agreed to have him go live with his father.
Okay.
He's 17 now, but like I so regret that so much as a mother. Like cause I miss like his childhood kind of, and then, I see him now. I'm like, dang, what happened to you? Because I remember the little baby I used to have, but I used to have him on breaks and holidays. But that child that I kind of sort of didn't raise. I was 21 when I had him.
Yeah.
So I was super young when I had him. And I was just barely like trying to learn life and figure out what route to go. And, even though I had a supportive mother, I just, I still want to hang out and hang out with friends. And,
Right.
So, his father, we both agreed that, he lived with his father. And I just feel really guilty about that situation till this day. Yeah.
You shouldn't though, because there's no rule. I mean, there's no rule book to being a parent.
Yeah.
It is tough. And I know some people might, kick me, for saying this, but to some point, I feel like we should be taking some type of class, or some type of testing to say, are we physically, mentally, emotionally fit to be a parent? Because the fact that like it's somebody's life that we have to be responsible for.
Yeah.
And sometimes I see these people on the streets and it just breaks my heart because they're just having kids after kids. And I'm just like, it's like, man, like I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that, but I wish there was an answer for that. You know what I mean? What did you love about pregnancy?
I'm gonna lean on you, girl. What'd you love about pregnancy?
Wait a minute, hold up. Wait a minute. Don't put me on the spotlight like that. Pregnancy,
Them finally being here.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
I had a pregnancy, well, my middle child, Naima. That pregnancy was very special to me.
Yeah.
Because I wanted a girl, and I knew even before I conceived her, I was like, "Oh, this has got to be a girl," and it was a girl. And I had a good pregnancy at that time. Around that middle child, I was very happy with that pregnancy. But other two, they were just high blood pressure kids.
Yeah.
Like
well, they were boys.
They drove me crazy.
Yes, they are boys. I had 3 boys of my own, and I'm just like,
you get it, yeah.
But I love it because I say it plenty of times on this show that they have a lot of love to give to my wife. So I wouldn't trade it for the world. That's another thing I say all the time. I was terrified to have a girl. That's
really,
yeah. I did not want a girl.
Really,
yes. Because of the society we live in. Not that I wouldn't be a good father for a daughter, but I just didn't want to grow up. I don't want to raise a daughter in the society.
Yeah.
I mean, your fear is valid, but it goes both ways. I fear raising my children in this society now. You know what I mean? Even when you talk about the overturn of Roe v. Wade, you automatically assume that, oh my God, my daughters, I have to do everything. And you do. But also your sons are at risk too. Your sons are in danger now.
They are. And I need to stop being one-sided or closed-minded or however you want to put it, because there's so much that happens to boys as well.
Yeah. And so one of those things that you can attribute that to is that breaking those toxic generational kind of curses or ways of thinking, like you just said right now. And it's the way that I was as well, because I was always brought up that you're a girl, so you got to be home before the sun goes down. But my brothers could be out running the streets, right? Yeah. And so because we grew up that way, I grew up that way. I also raised my kids that way, and I have one girl, and it's always, no, you don't spend the night anywhere.
That's what we're gonna
you
talk
know
about
what I
later.
mean?
Yeah.
And so, and she's like, well, Mom, like, it's not fair. And you know what? It took the realization, like kind of taking a step back, like she's right. I'm treating her different, and it's not equal. Just as much as I need to teach my daughter how to be careful in today's society, protect herself, I also need to teach my sons as well, because it goes both ways. So
yeah. And I'm big like that too, because I'm trying to figure out, and that's the whole premise of the show. I can't figure it out, so let's have some deep conversations so I can figure it out as I go. So all the faults that I have, I can correct them and make sure that I'm able to understand and connect with my kids as I'm going along. So.
Yeah, I agree. You know what I mean? It's a priority, and it's important to me to raise my daughter to be respectful and to respect her spouse and to never put him in a position where, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he didn't want to have children, but she did, she finds a way around it, just as it's my responsibility as a mother to raise my boys to respect women and to understand no means no. And you don't go out and attack a woman because she told you no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a huge responsibility that I think also I was a single mom for a very long time. And so, it was my responsibility to teach my boys how to be men, but teach my daughter how to be a woman. And how do you do that? And how do you find that right balance? So a lot of times I feel guilt
Yes.
a lot for a lot of different things throughout the time that I've been raising my children.
Yes.
It could be for a myriad of things, but yeah.
What about smells and cravings? Do you guys remember your smells and cravings? Or did you guys actually have, smells that bothered you or cravings?
Yeah.
Nopales made me really sick.
Yeah.
So like I remember my mother-in-law cooking cactus and the smell would make me just, oh God, it was not good for me. Cravings, I'm going to be completely gross. And with my first one, it was peanut butter and pickle sandwiches.
Yeah.
Every morning, peanut butter
My
and
wife,
pickles.
she didn't get cravings. I was the one that got morning sickness. I was the one that got the cravings. Pretzel sticks and applesauce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they say when you're married and your wife is pregnant that you get the cravings or you get the morning sickness.
I got both of it. Yeah. I was like every morning I was just like so sick. I'm just like
you're like, oh honey, I think you're pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean maybe, yeah. But I was definitely not feeling
or
good.
honey, we're pregnant.
Yeah.
Mine was more like smell. I could smell like a stinky person like miles away.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh man, oh no, I'm not pregnant again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And kind of find out, I sure was.
Yeah.
And then cologne. Man,
Oh
cologne was
God,
just
yeah.
I would throw all cologne out.
Oh man, you would hate me.
Yeah, you spray it.
Oh gosh.
Because people collect shoes. I'm cologne. I love cologne.
But you just spray and walk into it.
That's
Like
what I tell my son.
I just want to have a conversation with these dudes that bathe in it, and it's like,
yeah, no, that's what I'm teaching my son. He thinks 13 sprays is enough, and I'm like, no, that's
13 sprays.
He is like, my wife's hiding all the cologne bottles, and I'm like, where's this cologne bottles? And she's like, I had to hide it. And I was like, why? And she's like, he's pretty much showering in it. And I'm like, chill. So but I told him, one spray, you walk into it, you spray in the back, and you walk into it.
Is that your oldest son?
Yes.
Oh, what's his name?
Ethan.
Okay. Yeah. And what's his age?
10.
10?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to have some trouble with him.
He don't need no cologne yet. He only 10. Who he trying to impress?
He can have little 10-year-olds. I got a 10-year-old too, and I just taught him how to use the underarm deodorant.
Yeah.
I'm not doing cologne or any of the no sir, but we're there.
Well, yeah, I had to backtrack. So now we're doing body sprays and everything else because this kid can stink,
Yeah.
And he don't want to take showers half the time. I'm like, I'm like, you're gonna be the stinky kid that people are gonna remember in 10 years.
I love you want to know what I love about that is that at least you're there to teach him that.
Yeah.
I'm teaching my 10-year-old how to wipe himself after he uses the bathroom. Every time he uses the bathroom, I'm teaching him how to put the deodorant on and to brush the teeth in the shower every day and how to clean properly. Like
that sounds like my wife, what she does to me. So she's like, this is how you wipe. And I'm like,
bless her soul.
Yeah.
That's why we have
wipes.
Yeah.
Shout out to your wife.
I know.
Yes.
Did the person that annoyed you most, did it look like the child?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh God. Every single one of them.
Yeah. So that was a real thing.
Well, you know what they say is like if you don't feel hate towards anyone while you're pregnant because your baby turns out looking like them. So all 4 of my kids look like their dad.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And what is one thing that annoys you about other mothers?
I think when mothers criticize other mothers of being a mother, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody mothers differently.
Right.
You can't judge somebody off, oh, well, they give their kids this or they give their kids this. That shouldn't concern you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I know a couple of them. And I'm like,
yeah, that shouldn't concern your life.
As long as they're in their life, they're not hurting, they're not unhealthy.
They're sheltered, they're fed.
Let them be the mother.
Right.
Again, there's no rule to this.
There's no rule to being a mother or a father.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. All they provide is that you're in their life and you're giving them the best life that you can.
And then also, too, kids don't judge you. You can have a pack of noodles in a shelf. They're going to eat off that pack of noodles until you get some. Kids love you unconditionally. Your kids will love you unconditionally.
Yeah.
Ooh, girl, your kids are different. They're built different. Because my kids, my baby, every single one of them have made me cry.
Oh, really?
Every single one of them.
Yeah, my kids have like
whether it was when they were young. Like I remember my daughter, she must have been 4, and we're walking down the hallway. She's walking behind me. She goes, "Mom, your butt jiggles when you walk." And I'm like, wow. That's so funny. I'm gonna go in the room and cry now.
Like mine's hit mine.
Yeah.
I don't take it personal. Like mine just go. I'm like, oh, okay.
But I will tell you, because I have adult boys, and what I've noticed with my adult boys is that they don't come around anymore. They don't text. They don't come visit. Aww. They're just kind of like living their lives. And
what's their ages?
20 and 25.
Oh, wow.
And so when I talk to parent friends or parents who have older children, they're like, it's what they do. They leave the house. They're on their own. They're trying to find their journey. They will come back to you. But even
that's gonna break my heart.
Yeah,
my kids do that to me.
It hurts. I'm 39 and I'll cry to my husband man, my son just texted me to borrow some money for gas, but he hasn't come to the house in 2 or 3 months. You know, and we live 5 miles apart from each other.
Wow.
Yeah. It hurt. Like every single one of my kids has made me cry. But you know what? I think as a mother, it is the responsibility that I accepted when I knew I was going to have children. It was a choice.
But I'm guilty of it a little bit with my parents.
Yeah.
My parents, one probably lives 5, the other one's probably 7.
We're the same way.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, I'm very hard on them, but I love them just as much.
Yeah.
But I'm making sure I'm checking up on them. I'm calling them. I might be upset at them, or we might have our differences, whatever the case is. But I never stop to, try to make an intent to say, I still love you and everything else. Even granted, we're going through our differences. No matter what their life was, as they were raising, me and my sister and our kids and my sisters and stuff like that. I understand it now, but at the same time, like, I hope that doesn't happen, to my boys where they don't want to come around. Because I was, one of these rappers, that, stopped, and I gave my life for my boys. So if they were to be like, like deuces, I'm gonna be like, man, like,
It's hard. It's a part of parenting, and you have to be able to suck it up and give them that space that they need to learn, to grow.
Yeah.
It hurts, but they do come back. They come home, and I don't think it's intentional. As parents, we just kind of suck that up and keep moving forward and just be there for them when they need you.
Like I feel her pain. Because my 17-year-old,
we're
very. I haven't talked to him like in 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Because something happened when he came down here, but I text him every day still. Yeah. Every time I wake up in the morning, I'm like, good morning, because it hurts.
Yeah.
Not to talk to your kids. For my kid, I've talked to him in 3 months.
Yeah.
It hurts so bad because I don't know, so yeah.
Yeah.
It's not easy. You know what I mean? And you have, like I said, if you give them that space that they need, they'll come around eventually.
Yeah.
He's 17, honey.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
No.
It hurts so much because I wish like things could be different,
Right.
Like I text him every day, and when I changed my phone number, I changed my number just for him, so I can, because he blocked me, and I called him from another number, and he just pushed me away, you know. So it hurts bad. It hurts your heart, you know. So I pray for him every day, every single day. I text him, just because I believe he'll come back to me. And I want to show him that I miss and love him every day. I'd never stop loving him. You know, he's my firstborn. And he taught me how to be a mother. You know, he's been through things with me, So I love him with all my heart, So just want to say, keep your loved ones close. Even though you don't hear from them, just still message, because life is short, So, yeah.
Anything I can do to help, please let me know, because I mean, whatever I need to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I have a lot of support, like friends, and, family. So, that's what keeps me afloat, So, and God, most importantly, God, but, I do love him with all my heart, There's not one day that goes by without me thinking about him, So
anytime he'll come around. Me and my father, we had a falling out. We went years where we didn't talk. We just had our differences, and then we were able to connect back later on. And it's been beautiful ever since.
Yeah.
He's 17. You know what I mean? He's a boy. teenagers are selfish.
And he's probably thinking he knows everything.
Yeah,
just because he's in that mindset. I mean, that's how I was. I'm just speaking, on my, how I was. But
don't change what you're doing, though. If you're texting him every day, you're letting him know, I pray for you every day. Keep doing it, because he will come around and he will see that you were relentless and that you were resilient and you didn't give up even when he pushed you away.
Yeah. And I still kept going.
And that you're still going to be there.
And that is so true, coming from someone who actually did that to their mother.
Oh.
I disappeared for about a year, honestly, on my mom. And same thing. Like, she just stayed persistent. The way we kind of reconnected, she just showed up at my job one day with a brand new phone and was just like, here, I'm tired of not being able to get a hold of you. And then at that moment, we've been working on it since then.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
No problem.
So with that being said, boys are assholes.
Girls are assholes too.
Mothers are a beautiful species, if I can say. Never let anyone make you feel like a bad mom. You're doing the best that you can with what you have, and that makes you amazing. With that being said, how do you both support other mothers?
I think just kind of goes back to what she was saying about, the thing that she dislikes about parenting is where mothers tell you how to be a parent or what you should or shouldn't be doing. And I think that for me, the best way to support other mothers is to truly be a support to them, not to judge them, but to be a sounding board, to be able to listen to what they're saying, but more importantly, ask them, I'm an ear. I'm here to listen. Do you want me to listen because you want to vent, or do you want me to listen to help you figure out a solution? So just being a true support to other mothers is what I like to open myself up to.
And how do you open up? Because a lot of times we become prideful, not just with mothers, but also with fathers. It's just we're afraid to open up because we're afraid that we're going to be judged.
Yes. I think for me, I have a myriad of experiences raising my kids, especially since, like I was 12 when I got pregnant. So I feel like, number one, I have to be okay with the decisions I made, and I have to be okay with how I parent my children so that I can be vulnerable and open myself up to other parents, men or dads and moms, and really just be like, hey, my boss at work, if he's like, I'm raising a teenage boy right now, and I'm like, hey, I've been there. If you need support, you just want someone to talk to, let me know. I've raised two adult boys. Or, another friend at work who's like, man, my daughter, she's just giving me so much attitude, and she just talks back to me. Hey, I'm going through it right now. She passes it off as jokes, but you have to know when to really like give into it, or when you have to really put your foot down. But just opening yourself up, being vulnerable with people, letting them know that you're human. And as a mom, I've made mistakes along the way, and that's okay. You
and
work
that is
through
okay.
them.
Yes, that is okay.
Yeah.
So mothers get overstimulated. I don't know why I say about stimulation, but overstimulated, and it's mistaken for anger. What are you doing personally for self-control and peace? Like, what are you guys doing for yourselves?
I do a lot of journaling and writing.
Okay.
I read a lot.
Yeah.
And if I don't know something, I like to research it.
Yeah.
I'm very open-minded to, even though, I have my kids, the two young ones, all the time, I still try to find myself, like self-love, to be a better parent.
Okay.
And to be a better person.
Right.
So I would say, like, I do a lot of writing and journaling myself.
Okay.
Oh gosh, she's so much better than me. 'Cause I like to bitch and moan to my husband at first, probably throw some drinks back. Self-care. Hashtag self-care. And then, once I've had some time to kind of wallow, then I kind of pull it together. I'm like, all right, like let's attack this head on. So it's a little bit different, right? But we work through it.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, as long as something works, as long as it helps.
Yeah.
That's the important part.
But I'm not like an alcoholic or anything. Just want to let you know.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that
good.
part. Yeah. I mean, just the fact that you said mother, it's like everything else goes out the door. So
that's not water in my cup.
Yeah. What is the most exhausting chore of a mother?
Exhausting chore?
Yeah. Laundry,
cleaning
dishes.
up laundry every week.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Are you? I feel like I have I'm like, am I that mom? But like,
Oh, okay.
because you're so sweet with your answers, and me, the first thing that popped in my head is like, what's the most exhausting is when you got a teenage boy and you have to clean their room and you find their towels in the closet, and I'm just like that's what came into my head. And she's like, oh, just. I was like, okay, that's exhausting. Like. Seeing their search history and their cell phones, it takes a toll on you. Maybe we have different things that make us exhausted.
Have you had a moment where your child tells you that they hate you? What are you doing during that moment? My son says it every now and then. He gets mad. He's like, oh, I hate you guys. And I'm like, still love you.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's what I sound like. Yeah.
My kids have never told me they hate me.
Yeah, my kid does it all the time.
My kids,
when he gets mad. Yeah.
My kids have told me that they hate me. I think it's different though. So like my daughter did it when she was young and she wanted a piece of cake and I told her no. She was maybe like 3 or 4 and she was like, I hate you. And I was like, all right, well, go to the room and when you're over it, come back out and hang out. But conversely, like with my older boys, I have a son who struggles a little bit with depression, and there was a time where we had to put him into an inpatient facility to get him help that he needed, and he was not very happy with me for making that decision. So you get it. It just depends. It's situational, right? And it just depends on where your child's at that time in their life and that headspace, and you know what I mean. As a parent, you take those blows. You know what you're signing up for. Right. And so it's like, you know what? I get that you hate me, but I'm making the best decision for you right now to keep you safe. Yeah. So you can hate me and we can come back and talk about it. And, we'll work on our relationship. But for right now, this is an executive decision as your mother.
And I have to agree. I'm the same way. And then what I do too is I'll actually explain to him, the situations. I'm like, look, if it ends up being where we, took something away and he's upset, I'm like, you should see this as a privilege that you even have this stuff because other kids don't. If he's complaining because he doesn't want to eat the food and we're, telling him to eat, there's kids that are not eating. Yep. Like we reevaluate the situation and say, okay, like hate's a strong word. Yeah. For you to say it, like, let's,
I redirect my kids to like, I don't want to use hate. Let's dislike. Yeah. Right. Yes. Because hate really means like you have a severe disdain and you don't feel that way because you're going to feel bad later when you think about it and kind of contemplate.
I do want them to be able to feel okay with expressing their anger. Yep. As long as it's healthy. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm okay with it because they do need validation saying like, I'm not being comfortable right now, so this is a situation.
And that's the difference between our parents versus how we parent now is that back in our day, we were not allowed to say, I hate you. We were not allowed to ask questions. Yeah. We were not allowed to pipe up to our parents, right? Because we were raised in a time where it's like, you don't talk back. Yeah. If you do, you get smacked across it. Like we lived in those times.
We couldn't even do sound effects.
Exactly. Yeah. And now as parents, we're breaking those generational toxic behaviors by saying like, I get you're angry. Why are you angry? Before I'd be like, I don't give a shit. Go to your room and you'll get over it. But now it's like, all right, talk to me. Where are you at? Because that's what I would have wanted. I wouldn't have crippling anxiety today as a grown adult if my parents would have asked me why I was mad or let me express that. So you're already 100 steps ahead of the game.
I hope so.
Only time will tell.
Yes, only time will tell. What is the ultimate rule of parenthood you wish all people should know?
A rule of parenthood that all people should know?
Yeah, like people that don't have kids, let's say.
I would say no matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, when you start having kids, there is actually no instructions on how to be a mother. Uh-huh. So I feel like, I feel like I can if I can tell another parent or a parent that don't have any kids, I would just say there is no instructions on how to be a parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're never ready to be a parent.
Right. Yeah.
You're never ready.
You're never ready. Yeah.
No, yeah. I think for me, oh God, I just had it too. I think my role for parenting, what I would say to other parents that don't have children is whatever your parents did, do the opposite.
I agree. Yeah.
Whatever your parents did, do the opposite.
And I had just did a post the other day, because I was thinking about this question was be comfortable and be okay with apologizing to your kids.
Yes,
Yes.
that's
We are so
huge.
comfortable of just not making it seem like it's the kid's fault.
Mhm.
We're learning as we go.
Yes.
So we need to make sure like we're okay to apologize and I'm sorry. I didn't understand this. Let's try to figure this out because I'm learning as I go as well.
I think it's again just the time that we grew in where parents don't apologize because parents are not wrong.
Yeah.
What you say goes, or what my parents, you know what I mean? What I
Right.
say goes. You don't ask questions. I'm not wrong. I'm always right.
Yeah.
So we parents now, like my age, your age, even struggle with like, hey, I do need to apologize to my son because I raised my voice and I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
Or, maybe I broke one of his toys
Mhm.
and it was a true accident. Like, it's okay to apologize. I think there's just this stigma around.
Because you create that toxicity.
Yeah.
And then they start having like different
Yes.
like emotions and stuff like that based on those moments.
Yes.
And do you guys have protective rules for your kids? Like for me, what I was gonna say, we're gonna talk about it later, was I don't allow my kids to stay the night at anybody's houses.
Mm.
Like it's just the fact that it's just they can, hang out at anybody's house. Nighttime, they belong at home. Until they get old enough and they're able to, become more aware of, their surroundings, environment, yada yada yada. I
Yeah.
need to make sure that they're at home because that's where I can protect them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I've been the same with my children when they were younger, where I didn't let them spend the night anywhere just
Yeah.
because, you don't know who's at the other homes of the friends, right? You
Right.
don't really know them, but even family too. I think one of the biggest, and I didn't want to create this toxic kind of environment where they never were allowed to. So I think what I've done as a parent is I find ways to give them the freedom, but still have a little bit of control as well. So, for example, like my 16-year-old daughter, she'll share her location with me on her phone, and I
Okay.
have logins and passwords. I can go into her socials at any time. I don't,
Yeah.
unless I absolutely need to, or if I get a sense that she's hiding something from me.
Yeah.
But typically, I've created this kind of relationship with her where I want her to feel safe to come to me and talk to me about anything, because I always remind her, like, look, I'm the one person in this world who's going to go to bat for you and who's going to help you out in any situation. I need you to feel comfortable being honest and coming to me about anything.
I had that conversation with my son all the time. And one of
Yes.
the things I tell him all the time, don't do something that I can't explain later.
Yeah.
Like I'll go to war with you.
Mhm.
I'll be in front. I'll protect you every step of the way, but don't do something that I can't explain for you.
Yep.
Make sure you're protecting yourself because
Exactly.
yeah. Do you guys idolize celebrity moms?
No.
No.
I mean, I see so many people as just like
It's
I don't know.
it's the generation that we live in. I don't idolize, here's the thing. I think celebrity moms are probably really great moms,
Yeah.
but it's if you compare yourself to a Kardashian, they have nannies and they have so
Yeah.
much help raising their children. They have so many resources available to them that you and I didn't,
Yeah.
or that you didn't.
Yeah.
So I don't idolize them because it just seems a little overrated the way that they parent their children.
Right.
Just personal opinion, and you can hate me for it. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm not really into celebrities or what's going on with them or
Yeah.
yeah, I never can catch up. I'll be too busy raising kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm the
what?
same way too. Yeah. Half the time I'm just like,
Yeah,
yeah.
half the
You have time to
But
keep up with
I
celebrity
know.
parents?
I don't. I mean, just like the TV dads and stuff like
Oh
that. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
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 But
Mhm.
nothing beyond that. Like at least
Yeah.
nothing of today's time. I couldn't
Mhm.
tell you a celebrity parent
Yeah.
just because I'm
Yeah.
constantly just running.
Our parenting is different. It's real
Yeah.
life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's you and your wife that are raising your kids. You don't
Right.
have nannies that will come in your house and do everything for you. You're cooking, you're cleaning, you're raising
Doing
the children.
everything.
You're doing everything, whereas celebrities have various different resources at their fingertips that make it look glamorous. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And I would love to hear your opinion on this. I hear a lot of times we are blaming mothers for choosing the men that then become bad fathers. What would be the rule of thumb when picking the men that will become the fathers of their kids?
Oh my goodness.
Well, I have okay, so I I don't have nothing bad to say about fathers. I don't know. I just never been that type of person or that mother that can just fault fathers or blame fathers. I have 2 great baby fathers in my life, they're very supportive, they help me out. I don't, if I need something for them, they're there, they're supportive. But I would say, picking out your kid's father, I always have 3 things: that he needs to have a job, he needs to respect his parents. Respecting your parents, to me, as a man, I feel, um, it shows how you're gonna treat your wife and your kids,
Right.
So that is really big. And then, like, loyalty.
Yeah.
You have to have some type of trust and loyalty, to even build on something.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, those 3 things would be, a great idea to look for, in the child's father.
Yeah.
That's I love the advice that you gave.
Yeah.
I wish you would have been I wish I would have known you when I was having kids. So my
You
kid
are so kind. You made me feel so good. Thank you.
You
so
are a
much.
good
You
mom. I'm
are.
like, gosh,
Thank
where was she when I was having
you.
kids? So my kids all have the same father. He was 18 and I was 13 when we had our first. And I don't think I had any direction when, I I was so young. I was just in love and that's who I wanted to be with. And we just had kids and we had 4 together. And to be completely honest with you, now that I think back to it, we just we grew up together. And
Yeah.
so our relationship turned into more like brother and sister. And then we started to dislike each other. And so what transpired during the breakup and trying to raise kids was it was a very difficult time for us because he wasn't supportive and he was angry and he wanted to make me suffer at the expense of leveraging the kids to make
Yeah.
things, hurtful towards me. I will say though now, 10 years later, we're finally in a place where we can be civil and raise our 2 youngest ones together, and it's important. So I will say that one I will be completely transparent. One of the things I always tell my daughter is because she's, in this place where she's dating and it's like the minute that you recognize that your partner is displaying behaviors like that remind you of your father, I was like, is the time that you need to walk away. And it is the only and best advice that I could give to her so that she can understand.
Yeah.
And it would be the same thing that I would tell my boys. The minute that you see behaviors that you do not like in a spouse or a partner, you need to walk away because that's when you lead into the parenting where it's like, we're going to stay together for the children. And it's completely just detrimental
And not healthy.
for staying, and it's not healthy.
Yeah.
So,
And this other one, which is crazy. A 33-year-old pregnant mother from Chicago was having a rough day and slapped a plate from her boyfriend's hands. He grabbed her hair. Then she stabbed her baby daddy, killing him because he had used the microwave first.
What?
Yeah. What do you think was going on in her head, and why do you think this escalated to the extreme?
I think she probably had childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Because why would she do all of that and then now she's in prison for killing her baby's
Yeah.
father?
Father's gone now. She's in prison. Now the baby is, without
without both
parents.
parents.
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard to have an opinion on it because I have so many questions like where was she at? To think of a pregnant woman, her hormones are all over the place. And she could have been depressed, she could have just been
Yeah.
angry, anxiety.
And that's what I was wondering.
There could have been so many mental health issues that we don't know were going on with her in that very moment, and it was that one behavior from her spouse that set her off.
And that's what I was wondering if postpartum played a part before she had the baby. Like I wonder when that actually kicks in. Like as soon as she is pregnant, does postpartum play a factor, or is it like once the baby's born?
So I think, scientifically speaking, postpartum would refer to after having the baby, but I don't think you're wrong in the sense that she may have been feeling something while she was pregnant.
Yeah.
Because there are those struggles. With my last child, I was being treated for depression while I was pregnant with him. So you do go through, mental health issues while you're pregnant. And I just feel like there may have been a chemical imbalance in her that just caused that knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
And there wasn't even time to think about it. It's just
And being pregnant, you're so uncomfortable.
You're-
Because there was a couple of times where my wife was just, going through it, and it was like me and the dog. We literally went into the dog cage and we locked it, and we were like, we're gonna shut the door. We're gonna be in here for a few minutes.
Like
Expose yourself.
you have to think
Yeah.
the pain. Your wife. Our bodies are changing. Our bones
Right.
are moving. You're creating. You're getting ready to push out an entire human. Like
Which is crazy, by the way.
then you get to a point where you're thinking like, why am I sacrificing my body? I'm sacrificing my time, my sleep, my health, and then you start to kind of resent the child. If you don't have a supportive spouse at the time, then you start to like resent them. And I mean, there could have been like a lot of things we don't know about that happened that just caused her to grab a steak knife and go at him. Like,
You know what? As I think about it now, the question that you previously, asked about this, I think maybe it was like just anxiety, something else. I don't want to fully judge this person, but now that I'm thinking about actually what you said, it could have been something with anxiety or something with depression or in you were right. He could have did something that ticked her off and just like boom.
but you said it though too, when you're like maybe she had childhood trauma. We don't know what she went through as a child, but the moment he put his hands on her and grabbed her hair, probably sent her to a place where it was fight or flight. Like we don't. There could be a million.
And I don't
things.
even know why he even did that.
Yeah,
Like, it's just
like
this lady is carrying your baby, and you're gonna grab her hair. Like, what's the point of that?
So she might have just been defending herself.
Nobody's gonna know.
It is now time for the no, the O, and the laugh. It's where this and every show we give out a random hack, fun fact, or message and joke. Today's hack: are your little ones marking up the whole house with crayons? Well, use WD-40 to remove it all up. Use it on the walls, not on the kids. And the WD-40 will actually make the crayons go away. So WD-40 for that. And the joke. Let me get this ready. Okay, I had to make sure I got the soundboard ready. The joke is: what do you call a duck that is addicted to drugs?
Abducted?
A duck that's addicted to drugs.
A duck that's addicted to drugs. I don't know.
No, you don't know either? You guys don't know?
Uh-uh.
You want to take a stab at it, Elijah? No.
A quackhead.
A quackhead. There we go. It was a quackhead.
Oh my God.
And the message for today, especially for you two. Growing up, we don't realize just how much mothers keep the day-to-day life running so smoothly. For that, you are appreciated of everything you all do for your children. I admire you all for the more. Thank you for making childhood such a special one. Again, I appreciate you guys both being on the show. You guys are doing an amazing job. I look up to both of you guys. So it's definitely been a blessing. I love this show because of the fact that like I'm learning as I'm going and everything else. So I appreciate everything.
Thank you.
And as we wrap up the show, I want to give a huge, huge, huge shout out to today's special guest, Drea. Okay, there we go. I had to look.
That's okay.
Yeah. You want to give out any of your tags?
I would prefer not to, but you can find me on Facebook at Drea Rose, Draya.
Okay, perfect. And Shantrea, where can they follow you at?
I don't have any tags or anything, but I don't really do following, but I am on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, Shantrea Jada.
Perfect.
Wonderful.
Yes. And as always, Mr. Habari Live himself, Mr. Dip, and Elijah Wealth for Generations Lee.
Thank you, sir.
Please like and follow Habari Live Podcast, Habari Entertainment, and check out the other shows on there like Habari Live, Socially Awkward and Uncomfortable, The Von Rebel Show, and Wealth for Generations. Please also check out One Love on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Stay safe out there, stay hydrated, and make it a great day. And we out.